Welcome boys and girls to Auntie Nikki's 12 Days of Christmas Stories. Today's story, A Trini Christmas Carol. Ethan Scrooge was a rich businessman who lived in St. Augustine. Everyone knew him, but not because he was kind and certainly not because he was generous. Ethan Scrooge made his fortune in building houses and selling them, partnering with his friend Jordan Marley. Ethan and Jordan were carbon copies of each other. They were both unkind and stingy. Scrooge and Marley worked every day, including Christmas Day. After Jordan Marley died, Ethan hired an assistant, Mr. Bob Cratchit. Bob was a kind, gentle, and honest man. He was a hard worker. And Scrooge would tell Bob, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing in this business, you know. There's no place for kind hearts here. Just design houses and let's make money." That Christmas Eve, Scrooge couldn't help but think about his old partner, Marley. He felt a little sad that his friend would not be with him when he unveiled the biggest building project ever. He quickly forgot about Marley and went to Cratchit's small desk to remind him that he needed the designs by the day after Boxing Day. Cratchit looked up nervously when Scrooge approached him. "Cratchit," I said, "I need my design by the next morning or the next working day after Christmas. That's Boxing morning." But that means I will have to work Christmas Day. And get on it! I don't have time to wasting time lying with friends for Christmas and family and eating all that Christmas food. That will fatten you. No. I hate Christmas and everything about it. Love, faith, family, hope, charity, rubbish. And most of all, I hate charity. Cratchit, so you need to come to work or you can consider yourself out of a job. Cratchit could not see through the tears that was welling up in his eyes. He was already working 18-hour days and he had done nothing to help out the family at his house. It was already Christmas Eve and he did not buy a single gift. Thank God the mall was still open. He would try to get a couple of gifts for the family there that night. How could he tell his wife he had to work for Christmas and Boxing Day? When Cratchit arrived at the mall that night, most of the stores were closed. So he decided to go to the grocery, pick up a ham, a turkey, some bags of sorrel, and other items for Christmas dinner. When he reached the cashier, he was only able to buy 2 tins of Vienna sausage because Scrooge did not pay him for the month of December. Yes, Vienna sausage. Scrooge lived all alone in a large house on the top of a hill. That night when Scrooge pulled his big car into the garage, the yard was dark and eerie. He had the feeling that he saw Marley's face reflected in the glass pane off the door as he entered the house. Scrooge quickly turned the front door key, rushed into the house and locked the door. He then went to the bathroom, took a bath and poured himself a drink and thought to himself, "Christmas, it's here again." Suddenly, Scrooge heard a noise as if somebody was dragging a heavy chain. The noise came nearer and nearer and then Scrooge saw Marley, his dead partner. But it didn't really look like Marley. He was kind of transparent. Maybe it was Marley's ghost. Scrooge could not believe his eyes. Marley was wrapped in long chains. He bent over as if carrying a heavy load. "Who are you?" said Scrooge, daunting his eyes. "In life, I was your partner, Jordan Marley." "Oh, why you come back now? And why you come by me?" Marley replied, "I must wander through the world and wear the chains because I was so greedy and heartless in life. I only cared about business but not enough about people. Now I am here to warn you. You still have a chance, Ethan. I am warning you. 3 spirits will come to you and try and open your heart. Each time a spirit appears, you will hear a quattro strum. The spirits will help you to be not cursed like me, to wander the earth in these heavy chains." And the ghost disappeared as quickly as it came. Scrooge thought that probably I drank too much tonight, boy. Yeah, that drink was real strong. While he didn't like Christmas, he couldn't help but indulge in a little fruitcake, and then he said, you know what, I'm going back to bed. Scrooge fell asleep. He was startled with the song of a quattro strumming. He wondered where that song was coming from. And then he saw a beautiful woman dressed in light blue with a flower in her hand. She exclaimed, I am the ghost of Christmas. Pass here to rekindle your love for Christmas. Scrooge blinked and rubbed his eyes because the ghost looked just like Daisy Borzan. Yes, she was the parent queen a long time. The ghost immediately transported Scrooge to his childhood. Scrooge saw himself as a child next to the Christmas tree trying to open his Christmas presents unbeknown to his parents. His mother and grandmother and sister Sam was in the kitchen baking ham and wrapping pastels. Scrooge got a warm feeling in his heart when he saw his mother. The ghost asked him, why did you become like this? You came from a loving family. Scrooge thought about it and he honestly didn't know. A watch was strung again and Scrooge found himself in his bed drenched in sweat. He had his sheet held up against his face telling himself, no, this can't be real, this can't be real. Scrooge barely got time to compose himself and the quattro strummed again. This time the ghost of Christmas present appeared. The ghost looked like his ex-wife Adele. Ooh! Now Adele was a tiny woman with a very loud voice. Adele did not take no for an answer. The second ghost took Scrooge to Cratchit's house. Scrooge was surprised to see where Cratchit lived. It was a tiny little house on the end of a cul-de-sac. It was neat and clean, but neatly painted. The ghost of Christmas present loudly shouted, get in there! When Scrooge got inside the house, he was so amazed. The house had little furniture and was in disrepair. There was a little small couch with a bedspread thrown on it and a small table where the family was gathered having what he heard them call Christmas dinner. The table had so little food from what Scrooge saw. It looked like, Vienna sausages, fried up with onions and some crits, and everybody was drinking water. Scrooge thought, what a odd Christmas dinner. What Scrooge didn't realize is that he had not paid Cratchit for December, and that Cratchit spent most of his money on medical bills for Tiny Tim. Scrooge did not even realize that Cratchit had 3 children. The youngest was so small, he looked so drawn, but he had a happy look in his eyes. They had little to eat, but they were so happy. They were laughing and talking with each other. Scrooge asked the ghost about the small child. The ghost explained that the child was sick and Cratchit needed money for an operation. Bam! Scrooge was awake in his bed again. He could not help but think about the small boy who Cratchit called Tiny Tim. He was so small and frail. Scrooge did not even have time to compose himself. He heard the quattro strum again. And he got scared and he closed his eyes. But the ghost forced him to open it. A tall ghost. He looked like what persons would describe as the Grim Reaper. He said nothing and only pointed. The ghost pointed him to a graveyard and Scrooge realized that the funeral he had attended was his own. Yes, he was in his own funeral in the cemetery. Everything was there. And he was the only person there. He began to cry and scream, no, I don't want to die alone. I don't want to die alone. And before he knew it, he woke up in his bed with the sun beaming in. It was Christmas morning. The best morning ever. He sat alone. He started to think about the night and what had happened and the dream he had. It was so real. he began to reflect on his life and especially how bad he had treated Cratchit. How he had ignored his only living niece, Eleanor, who invited him every Christmas to lunch, and he never went. He tried to think, why had he become so bitter and angry? And he couldn't think of any reason. He thought, I need to be happy. I need to be happy. And he thought about the grave that he had seen, and he realized that no, he needed to do something. His thoughts were disturbed by the ringing of the phone. It was Cratchit calling him to let him know he was at work but needed access to the storeroom. Scrooge forgot that he had told Cratchit to come to work. Scrooge immediately got an idea. He jumped off his bed with renewed life and hurried to work. When he arrived, he saw Cratchit quietly sitting at his desk, working as usual. Scrooge went straight to Cratchit's desk and exclaimed, "What are you doing here today?" Cratchit said, "Boss, come to work today? I tell you to come to work today. It's Christmas Day, for God's sake. Go home, boy. Go home with your family." Cratchit looked a little confused. He thought he had lost his job, or maybe Scrooge was losing his mind. So you want me to go home? When Cratchit arrived home, what he saw, he couldn't believe. He was confused and elated at the same time. He saw Scrooge sitting at the dining table with Tiny Tim on his lap and a feast of food and desserts laid before them. All Christmas food, the ham, the turkey, the pastel, fruit cakes, torrent, gingerbread, and Tiny Tim's favorite sponge cake with light frosting. Tiny Tim was smiling from ear to ear, and Scrooge was laughing with a belly full of laughter. Scrooge then told Cratchit, "You know what? I will see you in the new year. We will discuss your raise and those plans that you've been trying to show me. Also, I want you to know that I paid you your wages I owed you." So, what meeting? Scrooge replied, "You know what, that could be. Take care of your family. I have something to take care of. Someone to visit." Scrooge pulled up in front of the house of his niece Eleanor. This was the first time he had visited her since his sister died. As he approached the door, Eleanor flung open the door and excitedly told him, "Uncle Scrooge, you came! You finally came!" With that, she gave him the biggest hug. Scrooge had not felt this good since he was a child, and found that it gave him great joy to share. And you know what? Mr. Scrooge was never greedy or mean again. Never. Merry Christmas. Goodbye.